You know that moment when everything feels like it's falling apart? Your comfort zones vanish, your identity crumbles, you feel lost, broken, maybe even hopeless. Most people call it a crisis. But here's the truth. That's not the end, it's the beginning. Real growth almost always feels like death first. Human beings love comfort. We crave routines, predictable outcomes, a sense of control. That's why even good change feels threatening. Your nervous system treats it like danger. Why? Because the old you, even if miserable, was familiar. The brain would rather keep a familiar misery than risk the unknown. Think of the caterpillar. It doesn't just sprout wings. Inside the cocoon, it dissolves into mush. To an outsider, it looks like it's falling apart. But without that breakdown, no butterfly, no flight, no transformation. The same is true for us. Your ego doesn't want you to grow. It clings to identity. Your job, your roles, your past mistakes. When growth begins, those identities collapse. The ego panics, staging its own funeral. That SY growth feels like dying because what dies is the small version of you that couldn't contain your potential. Psychologists call this an identity crisis or ego death. It's that uneasy stage when your old beliefs no longer work, but the new you hasn't arrived yet. This discomfort, it's not failure, it's proof that you're growing. Every spiritual tradition knows this pattern. In Christianity, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it cannot bear fruit. In Buddhism, enlightenment follows ego death. In Hinduism, Kali destroys to create a new. The message is clear. Old forms must crumble for new ones to rise. So why do we resist? 3 reasons. 1. Fear of uncertainty. We cling to old pain rather than risk the unknown. 2. Attachment to identity. We confuse who we are with who we've been. 3. Cultural pressure. We glorify constant winning, so we see breakdowns as shameful instead of transformative. Think of the phoenix. It bursts into flames and rises from its own ashes. The burning feels like failure. The ashes look like loss, but the rebirth majestic, and so are you. So what do you do when you're in the middle of it? First, name the process. This isn't the end, it's transformation. Second, grieve what's ending. Third, stay patient. The cocoon takes time. Fourth, seek support. And finally, trust the pattern. Remember, breakdowns often precede breakthroughs. There was a time when I left a secure job because deep inside I knew it wasn't my calling. At first I was excited, but soon after, panic hit. Was I without the title, the paycheck, the status? For months, it felt like death. But that season stripped away false identities and forced me to rebuild authentically. Looking back, I had to die as that old version of myself to live as who I truly am today. The thing you fear, losing yourself, is what sets you free. When the old story dies, a bigger one begins. You're not losing your life, you're gaining a new one. So why does real growth feel like death first? Because part of you really is dying. The part too small for the life you were meant to live. Like the caterpillar, you dissolve before you fly. Like the phoenix, you burn before you rise. Like the seed, you're buried before you bloom. So if you feel like you're falling apart right now, maybe you're not dying. Maybe you're just being reborn.
As we close, remember this. Every ending you face is not a punishment, but preparation. The death of your old self isn't the loss of who you are, it's the shedding of what can no longer carry you forward. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it feels like falling apart. But on the other side of that breaking is a rebirth, stronger, freer, truer. So the next time life asks you to let go of the old version of yourself, don't resist the process. Honor it, because that's how transformation happens. The old must die so the new you can finally live.